Similarly, we can write the formula for many other compounds like sodium oxide. Another example is there. Sodium, we know symbol is Na. Oxygen, it is having atomic symbol O. Sodium atomic number, it is 11, and the nearest noble gas, it is neon. So difference is of 1, 11 minus 10, so that gives you the valency. So write the valency here in the form of superscript. Then oxygen, it is having atomic number 8, so difference is of only 2 here, so the valency of oxygen, that is also 2. Then here what you need to do, just cross multiply these two, it will be Na2 and O. This will give the particular formula for sodium oxide. Similarly, calcium oxide, you can write calcium Ca symbol, oxygen O symbol, calcium having atomic number 20, calcium atomic number is 20, and nearest noble gas to calcium, it is argon, atomic number 18. So 20 minus 18, it is equal to 2. So valency is equal to 2, and oxygen, as I said earlier, difference is of 2. So here also 2. So again cross multiply them, it will be Ca2O2. These particulars can be further reduced in a simple whole number ratio. So it becomes Ca1O1, or you can also write CaO. This is a general formula. Clear? So these are some examples. Many more examples are there. They are totally based on this particular aspect of valency, so that you need to practice. After that, one more topic is there with respect to valency, that is variable valency. In this chapter we have another topic with respect to this valency, that is variable valency. So variable valency means the valency which changes in different compounds of the same element. Like there are some elements like copper, iron, tin, sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus, and many more are there whose valency changes, and such trend in the valency is said to be the variable valency. That phenomena is known as variable valency. Now, how do we write the chemical formulas of such compounds? That you need to see here. Like copper 1 oxide. If copper 1 oxide is given, how you need to derive its formula? Copper 1 here refers to 1 valency, and oxide, always keep in mind, oxide is a radical for oxygen. So oxygen, it has, we know, valency of 2. Copper 1, if it is written, it is having valency 1. Then again the same, Cu2O1. So formula will be Cu2O of copper 1 oxide, and this particular oxide of copper, it is known as cuprous oxide also. Sometimes it is written, old name, cuprous oxide, cuprous. Clear? After that we have copper 2 oxide. Copper 2 oxide. So copper 2 oxide, it is having same formula or different formula? Copper 2 oxide, definitely it will have the different formula, because now 2 is written here. Copper will have the valency of 2, and oxygen, its valency is not varying, so So it will be same. So this one will have the formula Cu2O2, or it can be written as CuO, because this number can be reduced further into simplest whole number ratio. So it becomes CuO. So CuO and C2O, Cu2O, these both are different. This one is copper 2 oxide, this one, and this one is copper 1 oxide. This one is also known as cuprous oxide, and this one is known as cupric oxide. Clear? Similarly, some other elements are also there, which, as I said earlier, they are exhibiting this phenomena. So those elements, out of them one more example we can discuss here, like of iron. Iron exists in iron 2 and iron 3 form. So iron 2, suppose ferrous chloride, if it is given, how you have to derive its formula. So ferrous chloride, ferrous always Fe, Cl. Now if ferrous oxide chloride is given, ferrous chloride, it refers to the lower oxidation state, or you can say here it refers to the lower valency. So out of 2 and 3, which one is less, which one is lower? Second one, this one, Fe21. So ferrous refers to Fe2, and chloride, it is having valency 1, because chlorine is having atomic number 17 and nearest noble gas is argon. So difference is of 1, so their valency is 1. Now what do you need to do? Just cross multiply them. It will become Fe1Cl2 or FeCl2. Clear? This is ferrous chloride. Another one is ferric. Always remember, when the word IC is written, IC is written, that means higher valency. And if OUS is written, OUS is written, it means lower valency. Clear? Now Fe2 and Fe3, these are different. How ferric chloride is derived? Ferric, we know Fe3 and Cl1. So this one will cross multiply and it will become FeCl3. So not very difficult task, just you have to see which element exhibit how much valency. Now these were with respect to the variable valency. Okay. Now our next topic is radicals. Many more examples are there of compounds which exhibit the variable valency that you have to see. From your book you can quote different examples and how their names are written, that also you have to see, but the key concept I had explained here. Now what are radicals? Radicals, they are the charged particles which could be a single atom. Charged particle means having either positive or negative charge on them. They could be a atom, an atom, or group of atoms. So an atom or a group of atoms which bears a positive or negative charge on it, that is known as radicals or radical. Now radicals, they are basically of two types. One are known as acidic radicals, another one are known as basic radicals. Clear? Acidic and basic. Acidic radicals, they always carry negative charge. and basic radicals, they always carry positive charge. Acidic radicals, they are generally formed by non-metals. Example, Cl negative, F negative, O2 negative, clear, or NO3 negative. Many more examples are there. SO4 2 negative. While positive radicals, they are generally formed by metals like Na positive, Ca2 positive, Ka positive, Mg2 positive, then Ba2 positive. Many examples are there. Ag positive, Fe2 positive, Fe3 positive, Cu positive, Cu2 positive. So many examples are there, but the main point here that radicals, they are an atom or a group of the atoms which bear the positive or negative charge, and these radicals always they combine with the opposite charged particles. Like Na positive, it will always combine with the negatively charged particle. It could be OH negative, it could be Cl negative, or it could be NO3 negative, etc. They never combine with the radicals having the same charge. Clear? And whenever the radicals they combine, there is formation of a new compound. Like when Na combines with OH, there is formation of NaOH. When Na combines with Cl negative, there is formation of NaCl, and when Na positive combines with NaNO3, there is formation of this particular compound. Clear? One thing more, the amount of positive charge carried by one radical in order to combine with another radical, that must always be equal. Like one positive combines with one negative. Here also one positive combines with one negative. Similarly, if Ca2 positive combines with OH negative, then here we need one more OH negative, because this one Bs2 positive, 2 positive can also be written as this one. So in order to cancel this charge, we need opposite negative charges also. So this positive gets cancelled with this one, and this positive gets cancelled with this one. So overall what we have, CaOH twice. These two are involved. So for overall we write here this one. Clear? How radicals they lead to the formation of molecules or compounds that also is based on the same phenomena, that their charges they are cancelled, and on cross multiplying them we get the particular stable compound. Now few examples we will discuss here, like formation of potassium hydroxide. First of all, potassium hydroxide. So potassium hydroxide, potassium is having, we know, K symbol, and hydroxide OH negative ion. K is the positive radical, that is the basic radical, and OH negative is the acidic radical. So what is there? Just their particulars, they are crisscrossed, and we get the resultant. Just see here, there is neither the transference of negative charge to this side nor the transference of positive charge from this particular side to that particular side. Only what we have to see, that how much positive and how much negative is written. Like here one positive was written, here one negative was written. So overall it is K1 and OH1. So it is KOH, nothing else. Clear? Similarly, if calcium oxide needs to be derived through its formula. So calcium oxide we know Ca2 positive and O2 negative. So 2 positive and 2 negative, that will get cancelled and we will get CaO. Clear? This also is very simple. Similarly, if we want to see ammonium sulfate, so ammonium sulfate, ammonium is a positive ion, basic radical, NH4 positive. Sulfate is a acidic radical, SO4 2 negative. So SO4 2 negative and NH4 positive, that will combine together, and on combination we will get the resultant compound, that is ammonium sulfate. Now here the charges are different, their magnitude is also different. Like here we have 1 positive and here 2 negative. Now in order to derive the formula, what you need to do in such cases, write 1 here, like 1 positive was written, and here 2 over here. Overall, this should be kept in the bracket, this also should be kept in the bracket. So 2 here at the top and 1 here at the top, just crisscross them, and what you will get, NH4 twice and SO4 1 overall. So equal to NH4 twice and SO4 as it is. So this is the formula for ammonium sulfate. First of all, what do you need to know? First of all, you need to know what is the formula for sulfate radical, what is the formula for ammonium radical, different radicals, their names and their formulas, that you need to know. After that only you will be able to derive all these formulas. Clear to all? Okay.